All right, we're getting into a conversation around Pink October. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're in studio with Dr. Andrew Odhiambo. He is an oncologist and, of course, a champion in the fight against breast cancer. And we'll be talking to him about his work, about awareness as we close the month. The rates of breast cancer in Kenya, how we're treating them from a structural perspective as well. What is SHA able to cover, for example, for a breast cancer patient? We've done the math before with a fixer, and it was not looking good. But things like that, also early screening and its importance, and how we can fight this disease as a whole. Good morning, Daktari.
Morning to you all, and thank you for the invite.
It's very good to have you. Before anything else, Jano will give you a quote. We start the day off with a quote. You can say what it speaks to you, if it means anything to you. Yeah, if it rings true, amina sound kama porojo, but I doubt that.
The quote today is by Patrick Awua, who is a Ghanaian author and speaker. And he once said, "You cannot reform what you refuse to audit. You cannot reform what you refuse to audit." When you hear that, what comes to mind?
I think that's an excellent quote. So maybe from a cancer perspective, if you cannot, for example, if you look at your body every day and you're the one in charge of your health, and you cannot audit yourself, what you're eating, what you're consuming, are you exercising, are you keeping healthy mentally, physically, spiritually, then how do you expect to change?
And also on the larger scale, also if we don't audit the structures, how do we then expect there to be reforms that make access and screening something that's possible? Earlier on, I read a statistic which you can push back on if the data has changed. The Kenya Cancer Registry in 2023 said breast cancer now accounts for 1 in every 6 new cancer cases in Kenya. Do you have similar data, or can you share what the official data is when it comes to breast cancer in Kenya?
I think those figures are essentially correct, although we are still struggling with accurate cancer data collection in terms of getting data from all the counties. It's estimated that Kenya diagnoses about 7,200 new cases of breast cancer every year. And the denominator is about 43,000. So if you do the math, that's essentially 1 in every 6. 0.1% of those 7,000 will be men, so don't be left out. 0.1%, so like 1 in 100 will be a man. So there are men who also develop breast cancer. It is the commonest cancer in Kenya. The deaths are about half of that in a year. So mortality slowly reducing, probably due to newer medication, more modern medication, maybe better awareness, but we're still very far from achieving what should be the global standard in terms of breast cancer control.
So I like that. What is the global standard for breast cancer control? I'll put that starting from a mortality rate. What in countries where, perhaps they've done what would be considered a good job?
I think we should be pushing that figure towards 30% and not the 50-60% that we are seeing. And the maths is very simple. Breast cancer in stage 1 is highly curable, regardless of any other circumstance or biology of disease or any other specification. But if the same cancer is allowed to go to stage 3, then the mortality increases. So countries that are smart, and I think Kenya is one of them, will push for population screening such that every woman will have a mammogram or an ultrasound or whatever they need to detect their cancer at the earliest stage possible. The same government will spend 1/10 of their budget to treat stage 1 cancer. It would spend 100 times more if that patient was to go to stage 3. So the government says, we are testing you for breast cancer. We can't force you. You can do it. If you do it, there'll be some benefits. You'll pay less tax. You'll have less government responsibilities. And people get pushed to do it, maybe not because of their own health, but there's some benefit somewhere.
Some incentive.
Because human behavior is very interesting. You can do a lot of, I've done so many camps and talks and things, and you preach screening, but nobody will come. Or if they come, it's just a few who've got relatives with breast cancer or who have had close friends who've suffered. But somebody who cancer has not appeared in front of their face,
they
in
will
front of a friend,
prioritize it.
they will not, and they'll say, kama hajanisumbua mbona nitafute? Why should I look for something that's not bothering me?
Quick one. Is that an incentive that you are putting on the table as something that could be beneficial? Does it exist anywhere else?
I think it exists. Some of the Scandinavian countries have sort of tax deductions. If you do your pap smear, your mammogram, upload them in the portal, and you're compliant in terms of screening.
Wow.
Then there
Scandinavian countries, I'm sorry.
They move different.
They move. You think you know all the things that they do, but tax deductions if you upload your pap smear and your mammogram.
It's not really a deduction, but your obligation is reduced. So they're not giving you money.
No, but they're reducing how much you give to them.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. But it's also because, I mean, I hear you about human behavior, but also the services. Screenings, if we look at, for example, Nairobi, urban areas, you might argue, no, every hospital, especially around this time, offers free screening. But all year round, is screening accessible? Talk about Nairobi, but also talk about outside, other countries, other counties. Could it be that if we made screening more accessible, that maybe we would see more women come forward?
That's definitely a fact that I fully support. If we roll out more and more screening opportunities, there will be more people coming for screening. I don't think it's one solution that will fix the whole screening problem, because it's a multi...
It's a number of factors,
there
right?
are a number of factors. So one, increasing the screening, yes, it will improve. Creating awareness, yes, it will improve. But I think we need to modify human behavior and sell a different narrative, other than we are screening to catch the cancer. It's not really... I wish people knew the consequence of having stage 3 breast cancer. I don't think it's fully registered in people's minds that your survival is probably less than 40% if you have stage 3 breast cancer. Same cancer in stage 1, maybe 80-90%. Then isn't it like rocket science that screening should be automatic, like you reach a certain age and you just take yourself because you know the benefits? So we should insinuate it in the culture of our children, in schools from high school, so that when you get to university, it's already automatic that you know that at a certain age I need to do this and this because it prevents me from this and this. Recently, I do a lot of online digital advocacy for different types of cancer. And sometimes people tell me, even if I go for screening, there are no services. You know, that's a valid reason.
Okay.
If the government doesn't have enough capacity to treat all those 7,000 cases to the best that it can, then why screen? Because cancer treatment is expensive. People wait to do mammograms when they're sick. That's not screening. Screening is for a healthy person with no lumps. Don't wait to feel a lump and then say, now I want a mammogram, I want to screen. You're not being screened, you're being diagnosed.
Right.
Screening is for somebody with no lumps. So don't wait to do the mammogram when you're sick. Do it when you don't have a lump. If we catch a stage 1 or a stage 0 breast cancer, you're home and dry. One simple, very inexpensive surgery might be all you need to be cured.
Let's start with screening. I think anecdotally, women are taught, to self-screen, and of course, whether it's in the shower and to feel your breasts in case there's any lumps, go get checked. You've said again that is not a screening. Now we've moved past that.
Self-breast exam to me is an excuse.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
If you scientifically test whether clinical breast examinations affects survival or mortality, you'll be shocked at the answer. It is useful because somebody could catch a lump when it's still 2 centimeters, but that's not what we want. We want to catch the cancer before you can feel it. Then it will be so easy to treat. But once you can feel a lump, you are certified to get surgery, chemo, radio. So the treatment becomes so long and so expensive just because you delayed maybe 6-9 months and your lump was growing and you couldn't feel it. So we want you to go for mammograms before you can feel anything. And it's a hard thing for an African woman to conceptualize that why am I going to hospital when I'm not sick?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's from the ancient times, we've grown up on survival mode, hunting and gathering, providing.
Preventative is a different.
That's
it's
true.
a different.
You need to change the whole framework of screening and sell a different.
It's a change in behavior, like you said. But let me start with then. At what age should women start getting screenings and mammograms? Because it's very jarring. Because it's for a long time, until a certain age, it should be sufficient to do the self-breast exam. But then, you're saying a different thing. So at what age should women start getting mammograms?
So, before we decide whether it's mammogram, ultrasound, or whatever, just from the screening perspective, I think every mature woman needs some form of breast cancer screening. It's only that a different test might apply to you based on your age, and this is due to historical data and also breast density. So one woman might be recommended to do an ultrasound while somebody else is being recommended to do a mammogram based on their age. But there's no... What people want to hear is which age is okay for me not to screen.
That's exactly it. So that you can do the cutoff mentally and be like, I'm either above or
below so I may not be. There's a question I have just before you come back to you, Mariam. It's a bit scientific. I don't know if you can break it down. Why is the breast area so susceptible to cancer? Because is it the biggest leading cancer in the world, breast cancer? One of the leading cancers in the world. So what is it about the breast area? And is it something that one can, maybe you've already answered this, catch before? Like, I'm trying to understand the science of why the breast, if you can break it down. I know it's medical. And whether there's any way that understanding what causes it could make you live differently and lower your chances of getting breast cancer.
Right. Then we'll still go back to the screening.
And then we'll go to I was going to say then he'll go back to the screening. But what is it about here?
So why the breast? That's a very interesting question. I've never thought of it in that perspective. So I may not have a very concrete answer, but the breast is a very interesting organ that's affected a lot by hormonal changes, and hormonal changes in a female and the imbalance that occurs over time. When you look at things like pregnancy, lactation, how soon did you have your first child, did you breastfeed them? That balance between estrogen and progesterone is what sort of triggers the breast to develop cancer. But we are now learning more and more that there are many patients who do not have the traditional risk factors and they still get breast cancer. And that percentage is more in sub-Saharan Africa and more in women below the age of 50. So if you ask me, what can I do to reduce my chances of getting breast cancer? There are things I'll tell you which have been in the textbook since the 70s and 60s. You can do all those things and still get breast cancer. So it's like a no-brainer that this is something, it's a potential problem that a woman is very susceptible to, the same way men are susceptible to prostate cancer simply because you're a man and you're growing old. So there's really no exemption. There's no, because I exercise and I diet and I juice, that I don't need to go for screening. No, every woman needs screening. It's just, when's your right time? What's your best test? How should you do it? All those small things collectively are very, very important. They make
a difference,
And it's you. Many people come to my DM and ask me, and where is free screening? I want a free screening. Then I say, okay, fine. There are many places now. In fact, in October, there are many places with discounts and so on. But a mammogram is a machine. An ultrasound is a machine. There's a cost element to that. It can never be absolutely free. somebody has to pay for it. So it's either you or a sponsor or a donor or the government, or somebody has to pay for it. But if it's the one thing that could potentially save your life, if you're diagnosed with early cancer, you will survive, then why not do it for yourself? We do so many things for ourselves. We have nice parties, we have elaborate birthdays, we pamper ourselves in the spa and spend amounts that are 10 times the price of a mammogram. And then you come to my DM to ask me, I want a free mammogram.
Why don't you make it, can't it be more accessible if I'm going for a checkup or if I'm going to see the doctor? Is there no way that medics can encourage a woman, I don't know whether this would be a violation of rights, but if I'm coming to see you, either for, I don't know, I just want a checkup with my gynae, or I'm feeling a pap smear, exactly, or maybe I am actually going to see a GP. I'm feeling pain in my head and I'm going to see a doctor. Wouldn't there be sense in saying, would you be open to a screening, or can we recommend, so that it's part of the consultation is the doctor that's kind of emphasizing? I
fully agree, and that's what we used to do back in the day when we were even trying to ask people to test for HIV, because it was provider initiated. People really fear cancer. I'm not sure you've registered that. The fear is intense. So somebody can in their mind say, okay, fine, I'll do it, but let me just think about it. The fear that people have because of ignorance, misinformation, and stigma is real, and that's really pushing people away. They're just like, I've thought about it, I can't do it. Some people come, they're dressed up, they're changed, and they just change their mind last minute. They're like, I can't deal with it, I can't cope with the results, I can't do it, I'm gone. So it's a shift. Everything needs to change. People feared HIV so badly because of the consequences, but now people are seeing that people are living longer. So people go to test, they buy kits in the supermarket and test themselves at home. We need to get there with cancer such that people are not fearing getting diagnosed, because they know we have a solution. You can actually be treated and be cured. It's not easy, I'll tell you.
Yeah. The behavior change, I think, is like you said, it's not going to be easy. But I'm also thinking through what you've said about, what people will come to the DM asking for a free screening. It's Pink October, there's discounts everywhere. But for a majority of Kenyan women, I think accessing like these services is really, really tough. Walk me through where I can get a mammogram. Actually, let me go back to the initial question of the screenings, right? You said it could be mammogram, ultrasound, depending on different things, breast density, all of that. You said mature woman as well. Again, mature is
relative.
Are you 12?
Relative.
Are you 18?
Yes, are you 12? 20? Are you 18? You have breasts at 12.
That's true.
But should you be getting a mammogram at 12? I don't know.
No,
let's start
definitely not.
Let's start there, and then we can talk about how to access screening from a public healthcare perspective. Yes.
So maybe just to make it very simple. So if you're over the age of 40, there's a recommendation from a global perspective to have an annual mammogram until a certain age, maybe in the late 60s, where you'll stop. You'll not screen forever. Okay? And so then if you're over 40 and you want to access a publicly funded screening program, then you have to look at, in your locality or in your county, does it have a mammogram? Recently, there was a rollout of putting mammograms in every county. I doubt that they are all functional, but there are some counties that do have functional mammograms. So that would be the first point to go and get screening.
So this would be like a level 5, level 6 hospital?
Maybe level 5.
Level 5.
Level 5, yeah.
Okay. Level 6 obviously will have.
Yeah, and some level 4s also will have.
Some level 4s, okay.
Entrepreneurship has changed medicine, so there's a lot of private entities within those counties that have the same machines and offer the service to paying clients, insured clients, and so on and so forth, and would run discounts in October. There are many places now that are doing mammograms for, I think, 2,000 or 1,500. ultrasound, maybe I think 1,000. So you'd find that in many of the major county establishments,
Right.
whether it's Kitui or Mombasa or wherever, you will find them. So they're there. Now, if you're below 40, then the recommendation is an ultrasound. Particularly more in this age is where we push more for the clinical breast examination, because you can be able to detect something that the doctor can do something about. Mammograms are generally not recommended below the age of 40, but then again, you would find somebody who is below 40 whose breast density dictates that they get a mammogram. So it's always in consultation with some doctor or some specialist. So you might not just do it by yourself, and that's why below 40, the guidelines are kind of a bit amorphous. So we normally say, okay, if you can do a breast examination once a year with an ultrasound, okay, try to do the clinical breast exam every month and check yourself. That's good. If you hear somebody has come, a politician has come to your area and they're doing free screening, take yourself. That might be your day to get diagnosed, because they come with those kits, those little ultrasounds, and they check you. So it's many
it's
things.
all those factors. We're getting into a break. When you talk about fear, a lot of it is the discomfort, I think, as well. So it's just maybe people understanding mammograms are very uncomfortable. I'll tell you for free. It's a very invasive. I'm not here trying to tell people not to. I'm just saying I've done them. And it's important that people know some of these exercises are uncomfortable for a bit. And I think, people used to scare me and be like, oh my God, if you do that thing, it's the most uncomfortable. And so for a while I was hesitant. Then I was like, what am I doing? Why am I hesitant?
Right.
Let me jikaza and let me do it. There's a little bit of discomfort.
People jikaza and get tattoos. It's uncomfortable.
Dr. Andrew Odhiambo, he has said it is in the mind is where we start changing. He's an oncologist. He's here with us talking about breast cancer awareness. And his angle is there has to just be a different way that people talk about screening, talk about breast cancer in a way that shifts behavior and mindset, so that then people can move towards screenings and early detection. It's coming up to 7:30. We'll be back after the break for more on the conversation, and we'll take some of your questions as well. Stay with us. I've got this. We're getting into the conversation. During the break, Mariam, Dr. was telling us about AI, and because we're talking about how do we make these procedures less invasive, less uncomfortable. Maybe that's perhaps, just before we went into the break, that's what I was saying, perhaps that's why there's hesitation. People not only want to experience the discomfort. Of course, the other part of it is I don't want the truth behind what lies behind the test. Just before we get into things like how we can create year-round awareness beyond October, tell us about how AI could shift the fight against breast cancer, what's already happening, and what milestones we're looking at achieving over the next few years.
Okay, so thanks for that question. So AI is changing healthcare in an astronomical way. In terms of breast cancer care, AI is already in the space and it's doing a lot. Currently, it's making the doctor's work easier. So, for example, if a pathologist is given a sample of tissue that came out of the breast, the AI is able to help the pathologist to analyze the tissue and sort of categorize it and say maybe which type of breast cancer it is. The AI is able to read mammograms, probably as accurate, maybe more accurately than a human. The AI is helping the doctors who treat cancer with radiation to do it's called like mapping and simulation, to sort of plan the treatment. And this has helped to reduce waiting times in big hospitals, especially in the UK, in the States. So there's less waiting time. Patients are getting treated faster. And those technologies will soon be here with us. We're already having AI-assisted CT scanners and PET scans in the country. So it's coming. And very soon, I think some Chinese guy somewhere will just invent an app where you can just hold the phone like this and then it just does 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's probably not as sensitive or equal to a mammogram, but something close to or similar, of which the patient can then move to the next step. Having said that, screening is just the beginning, and it's just a little drop in a bigger ocean. After screening, what next?
Yeah.
Because you have to be prepared to deal with the result of the screening. If your screening is negative, then after a certain point you need to do it again. So there's something called screening fatigue. So after some time, patients will either get tired, like, I've done mammograms for 10 years, I'm good, I'm okay, and then 2 years later, boom, you have breast cancer. So behavior there also needs to be modified. If you do get a positive test, will you go to the next step? Because you've been avoiding invasion, biopsies, and so on. But the next step after a positive mammogram is a biopsy. So are you prepared for that? Have you been educated as to what the implications of a biopsy will mean? And if you actually get cancer, what are we going to do to you? So when somebody thinks in their mind, like, okay, screening is good, okay, let's all go, let's go. But what if I get cancer? What next? So you have to be prepared mentally for
the what if.
For the what if, because if you are found with breast cancer at age 29 or at age 30, it's a complete game changer for you, because many things have to change. When will I complete my family size and so on, breastfeeding, so many things, sexuality. So that's why I've been pushing for a complete behavior change. Screening is part of it, but there's more to screening. There's more towards early detection. There's more towards finding that cancer early, because treatment is things that we need to consider.
You've given some really good insight there, and I think this is refreshing in a way, because when we have conversations, especially around cancer, we don't often talk about the behavior aspect, and you've been very consistent about that. I think that's half the battle. We've talked about AI screening, how it could potentially change the game. We could get to that place, but then again, you would still need to give the AI your picture or whatever to do the screening, right? And I'm seeing some of your comments coming in online. We'll go into those in a little bit. Of course, you can also call in if you have questions, 0719038858. It'll be at the bottom of your screen. But just before we get into some of the advancements that are happening aside from AI in the fight against breast cancer, I want to talk a little bit more about the structures. What more could we be doing as far as advocacy is concerned? Because you've told us, a level 4, a level 5, a level 6 will obviously have that. But I'm wondering, is there a role for a community health promoter as far as breast cancer awareness is concerned? For a level 2, a dispensary, your faith-based hospital that's close to home?
So, good question. So, community health and primary health care, how it contributes to the fight against cancer cannot be, under, I'm missing the word.
Swept under the rug?
Yeah, it's very important. And actually now there's projects that are digitizing community health, because every 2 to 3 persons, somebody has a smartphone. So you no longer need a physical human to walk to your little, house in the village and tell you, kuna breast cancer, tunaweza kufanya hivi, tunaweza kufanya hivi. Of course, there's more that they can do in terms of maybe physical examination and checking, but delivering information to the most rural places can now be digitized. And I'm aware that there are major projects that are now digitizing community health, and that in itself is a big step, because if you don't start from there, then how will that person even know that there's something called mammogram? How will they even know that there's something called chemotherapy, surgery? So it's the good thing about cancer is everything is written in a nice document called the National Cancer Control Strategy. Everything I've talked about is inside that book. I think the latest version now is till 2020. I think there's a new one. I haven't read the latest one, but and there are those 5 pillars, everything from prevention all the way to research, monitoring, evaluation. Everything is there.
Sorry, so we have a national cancer control strategy.
There. Yeah. How to do it, who to do it, how to train oncologists, how to train this person.
It's downloadable online?
Yes, it's there.
How are we doing on the implementation? Because on the show, at least once a week, we said we are going to get a jar.
Implementation is the issue. And I think there's some things that sometimes they I don't know whether it's to annoy me or to baffle me. So in many parts of Africa where Kenya belongs to, healthcare is sort of a business, okay? And that's not a fact that you can just say it is not. In countries where healthcare is fully publicly funded by government, then there's no business in it because it's government providing for government, paying government. But here, government is providing money to pay business entities. So healthcare is a business. So in a business, do I make money from screening or do I make money from selling chemotherapy or radiotherapy or selling drugs? Where do you make the most money? Where can you Where can you tweak the system to favor you? You know, screening is very basic. It's you go, you do this test, you get the result, and that's all you can claim for, even if you're a provider. But treatment it opens a pot for all the businessmen, the business people to enjoy. And there's a lot of controversy now, especially in the US, where people are calling out people pushing for screening because you just want to diagnose people and put them on medication for years and years and years and make money. So it's...
I'm hearing a lot of that even here.
I was just going to say thank you
for saying it as it is.
As it is, because it's very rare to hear medical professionals admit to the fact that there is the business element of things, and that it is. You make more money treating, and I'll say that, than either preventing or doing early screening and things like that. But go on, Jenna.
I was just reflecting on that because it's something I've been hearing. We also want to speak to, and it's something Mariam, I think, alluded to at the beginning of the show, which is patients' access to services, what is covered, what isn't. Remember, you're talking about doing the math and trying to understand where it stands with the transition to shift SHA and how all of that is creating, what a lot of us feel is a backlog in terms of people being able to access health. So what is covered? And what else remains to be...
So SHA, goalposts change every day. I follow their Instagram page and sometimes I even call them out. But I'll speak for the cancer space because that's where at least I have facts on the ground. All in all, SHA is not a bad thing because without SHA we'd be in a worse place. I happen to have been treating cancer pre-NHIF.
Pre-NHIF?
Yes. So that was 2013, 14. Between 2010 to 2015, there was no NHIF. Cancer was a cash affair. If you didn't have Jubilee, UAP, Britam, whatever, Bupa, Cigna, you paid for your treatment in cash. There was no... The government was like, NHIF tunalipa tu ile ya kitanda ile 1K. There was no coverage for cancer services. So you get cancer in the family and it's harambes, contributions, or just you lose hope and just count your days. NHIF came in 2015, 2016 and complete game shift. I've seen patients who would have not been alive but are alive now because of NHIF, that original NHIF, which worked very well the first couple of years until Kenyans being Kenyans decided hapa ndio tutakulia. So fraud skyrocketed and skyrocketed and skyrocketed. And I don't think the government or the people sitting in NHIF boardrooms were even aware of just how clever Kenyans can perpetrate theft. And
so what walikuwa nakuliaje?
So okay, you have a facility, you have an MRI machine. An MRI takes about 45 minutes to an hour to do. So if you're open for 12 hours a day, you can only do, even if you're pushing it, you can do 12 MRIs. Yeah. And maybe because of changing shifts, maybe 10.
Yeah.
So if you open 20 days a month or even 25 days a month, that's how many MRIs?
Wait, we were at 10 a day, so that's 200 to 300.
Yeah.
So if your claims in the system are 10 times that amount, then what are you really doing? That's just
one example.
There are so many examples. So anyway, to cut the long story short, NHIF did help, and I have personally seen it help a lot of cancer patients to live long, to be cured from breast cancer, and to live long, healthy, normal lives on medication. NHIF used to, if you looked like maybe a husband and a wife in their family, and if you included first and second line chemotherapy, that cover was in excess of 1.2 million per home. Now it's 400,000.
400,000, yeah, we've talked about
so,
that, yeah.
In fact, patients tell me, see, ile NHIF, ile nze si rudi tusaidia, ndio ilikuwa inatusaidia. So I think the corruption, the pilferage, and the losses that NHIF used to make from shoddy deals maybe is what was the government's reason for bringing this SHA. But SHA is just NHIF with a different clothes. In fact, now I think it's even worse. Kenyans are very tech ahead. I don't know, maybe they need to hire those goons stealing from the system to be actually the gatekeepers of the system.
Because they understand it so well.
If somebody hacks your bank, hire him so that he can then protect you from.
If someone had gamed the system, hire them. Not all, but but I see where you're going with
exactly, because they understand. So is there a major policy shift that could just change cancer outcomes in Kenya? Have you spoken to it?
I was actually going to ask him the same question, but using the cancer strategy, because I'm like, now that I'm finding out that we have a national cancer control strategy, what's low-hanging fruits? You laughed when I said implementation during the pain point, right? What's low-hanging fruits that we could start with, and then we can graduate? Things that if we implement, we could see a healthier nation with perhaps a 30% or less mortality rate for things like breast cancer.
Very good question. Honestly, I do not have an answer. It's malaria is, mosquito nets, patient, antimalarials. You can just see the map very clearly and address each point, pop, and malaria is eradicated. For cancer, it's not that simple. Even breast cancer alone is very complex, and that's why it needs a strategic approach. Allow me to shed some light on what Egypt did, because I went there and I visited their breast cancer facility in Cairo, and that was a presidential directive. So politics will change things in Africa. No politics, no change. So the politician has to have the personal agenda to change cancer outcomes. They might not change outcomes for all cancers, but you can start one at a time.
The most prevalent or the
so most... So what Egypt did for women health is they focused on two cancers, breast and cervix. So when something has presidential declaration backing, that means there's money. So we went to Cairo and we were taken to a breast cancer hospital only. This is like
a different level of specialization. It's not an oncology center, it's
a breast cancer.
And it's for women.
Okay.
There are no male toilets for patients.
Wow.
The hospital is pink everywhere. Every woman in Egypt gets breast cancer care free, from screening to the
treatment.
end. Everything. I think maybe only 1% of medication isn't covered.
Right. Even
So
palliative
long as
care?
you I don't think you even need to have an ID. You're just Egyptian. That's it.
Yeah.
And that was presidential. Everything is like, this is presidential directive. So it has a different funding, different. If you have another problem, you go to another hospital and
Sisi kazi yetu
suffer.
ni hii.
Sisi
Wow.
tunafanya hii. So for breast and cervix, those women are completely sorted. So in another 5-10 years, we look at their graphs for mortality and you'll begin to see them going
Down.
down. They did the same for hepatitis C, and they eradicated hepatitis C because of their liver cancer. And all this is, the president woke up and said, today we are doing things this way. So I think
The prioritization, the goodwill, general care for the country and the citizens.
the way we are
is-
saying
starts.
housing affordable, we should be saying something
Affordable
for
healthcare.
cancer only, and this is what we want to.
I know we're a bit short on time. I wanted to quickly see if we could do a quick fire of symptoms, a quick fire of lifestyle predisposition. I know we hear that a lot. We probably hear it all the time, like, what are the lifestyle? But let's just get a quick fire from you on the signs and symptoms of somebody who has breast cancer, and then also just the lifestyle elements to keep in mind. So I guess, I don't know if lessen your chances is the question, but what to avoid lifestyle-wise,
So maybe from a signs and symptoms point of view, the first take-home is there's nothing like early signs. When you have a sign, it's late. So just get that in your mind. But in case you notice any of these, then go to your doctor. You'll need to be checked. So if your breasts are asymmetrical for any reason when you're doing your self-exam, if one's hanging low, hanging up, if there's any changes in your nipple, either is it going in, changing shape, changing direction, any new change on the skin on your breast, don't say that it's eczema, I don't know, I'm getting burnt by the roll-on. If you're getting reddening, hardening, dimpling of the skin, any wounds, any discharge, any nipple discharge, any blood, any lumps in your armpit, all those should raise suspicion. The obvious one is the breast lump. 9 out of 10 breast lumps are not cancer, and cancer breast lumps do not pain. But just because you have a breast lump that is painful and varies with your menses, don't assume that it's not cancer. Just go and be checked. If you have any of those, then you have to make sure you go and be checked. By the time the cancer has spread, obviously there's another whole set of different symptoms, but we don't want you to get there. But you know your body, you examine yourself every month. Any change that is new that wasn't there should arouse suspicion.
So you mentioned the asymmetry of breasts. I think what is regular asymmetry? Because again, they're not perfectly symmetrical.
So there's no regular asymmetry, and most women will not have perfectly identical breasts left and right. But because you're the one in front of the mirror every day, when you notice, today I did my hands like this, this one went up, but this one didn't go up the way it used to. This one has a...
Okay.
Okay. Then
lifestyle changes. So, of course, that those risk factors that have to do with hormonal imbalance, the traditional ones. So, having children earlier, having your first pregnancy below the age of 30, breastfeeding, having many children are sort of protective.
having many children. Okay.
But we still see breast cancer in people with 9 children. So it doesn't mean that the opposite can't occur. And then from a different perspective, harmful and excessive use of alcohol, poor diet, obesity, a sedentary lifestyle, and lack of exercise is a problem. And it's now a bigger problem in sub-Saharan Africa, where 5-10 years ago, you'd actually wake up, go to the supermarket, push the trolley or through all the aisles, go to the counter, queue, stand, go to the parking, and drive home. Now you just glove over everything. So you just sit at home gaining weight, bad weight, high cholesterol, visceral fat. That's a time bomb for breast cancer and many other cancers. So we want people to be moving, keep healthy, keep active, keep fit, eat healthy, and sort of just take care of yourself.
As we close, my final question was, how close is the world to finding a cure for not just breast cancer, but all cancers? I've seen just stories here and there about, promising headway being made, but genuinely, is it even a possibility given that it is, a mutation of a cell? So,
I think this is my view. It does not reflect the views of my peers. I think someday there'll be a proper light at the end of the tunnel. It may not solve all cancers, but it will solve a significant amount. It might be a cancer vaccine or something that targets that cell before it becomes sick, or immediately it falls sick, it can convert it back to a normal cell. But the rate at which cancer changes every day and behavior becomes different, it's always somehow a step ahead of us. So it's like it just knows, these guys, they'll never catch me. If that cure is found, and that guy is not killed before it's found by Big Pharma, it might not be accessible or affordable to many. There are miraculous treatments out there that cost Ferraris and Porsches, which people can't afford.
We'll stop at that for now. This was very interesting, like you said, the approach of mind shift and norms. So thank you very much, Dr. Andrew Odhiambo.
My takeaway is behavior change probably being the best preventive measure.
I think so.
Not preventive, but I don't know what would I... Stopgap.
Stopgap, yeah. It's, we will be having a conversation with him around breast cancer. Next, we'll be talking about safety of Kenya air transport sector in light of the recent tragedy. We'll be speaking to Captain Raphael Wamwati, Director of the Kenya Association of Air Operators. We'll also be telling you about the New Nation app at some point in the show. Stay with us. It's coming up to 8 a.m. Fixing the Nation, one conversation at a time.